Hello everyone, welcome to Just Giji. Bird watching or birding is one of my favorite hobbies. I do birding while walking in my neighborhood or hiking in the mountains or woods or even in my own backyard. Birding is an inexpensive hobby. You can bird watch in your backyard or a local park. It is time spent outside and also a fun activity and physical fitness. In this video, I am introducing some birds that are found in New York and other parts of our nation. So you can use these tips for adding bird watching to your next adventure. Enjoy! Birds are fascinating creatures, so watching birds zip fast, float in the wind, or towering in mid-air always amazes me. People of all ages watch birds. It's an activity you can keep doing all your life in any part of the world. Birding is the fastest growing outdoor activity in the United States. Birds have always delighted people all over the world because of their beauty and their power of flight. And they are beautiful. Some are spectacularly beautiful, brilliant colored and breathtaking hues. I find almost all birds delightful in some way. In this video, we will begin with interesting mountain and backyard birds to water birds like these beauties. The Ruffed Grouse. I found this bird a very interesting creature and one of my favorites. The dappled grayish or reddish Ruffed Grouse is hard to see. This plum grouse has a khaki crest and a tail marked by a broad dark band near the tip. It can come as a surprise to learn this distant sound like an engine trying to start comes from a bird at all. Ruffed Grouse is the state bird of Pennsylvania. Common nicknames for Ruffed Grouse include drummer or thunder chicken. Ruffed Grouse are named for the ruff of feathers around the neck in males. They display these feathers during the mating. The Pileated Woodpecker, another one of my favorites. The Pileated Woodpecker is about 15 inches in length and is one of the largest woodpeckers found in North America. It has a black body, a red crest, white stripes on its neck, and black and white stripes on its face. They are found in forests throughout New York. They eat insects, fruits, and nuts, and a large part of their diet is made up of carpenter ants. They use their sharp bill to pull bark off trees to expose ant colonies. They use their long, sticky tongue to poke into holes and drag out the ants. They drums on hollow trees with their bill to claim territory, and they make their nest in a tree cavity. They also dig out large holes in trees to create roosting and nesting spots and to expose insects. The chicks hatch after little more than 2 weeks and fledge when they are about a month old. Look for pileated woodpeckers in stands of mature forest with plenty of dead trees and down logs. The beautiful red-bellied woodpecker. Red-bellied woodpeckers are pale, medium-sized woodpeckers common in forests of the east. Their strikingly barred backs and gleaming red caps make them an unforgettable sight. Just resist the temptation to call them red-headed woodpeckers, a somewhat rarer species that mostly black on the back with big white wing patches. Learn the red-bellied rolling call and you will notice these birds everywhere. Keep an eye out for this species in eastern woodlands all year round. They are loud and call frequently during spring and summer. On a walk through the forest, you might spot rows of shallow holes in tree bark. In the east, this is the work of the Yellow-bellied Sapsucker, an enterprising woodpecker that laps up the leek's snap and any trapped insect with its specialized brush-tipped tongue. attired sharply in barred black and white with a red cap and throat. To find one, listen for their loud mewing calls or stuttered drumming. The Eurasian Bullfinch. Bullfinches are thick-billed finches in the passerine family. The name bullfinch comes from the bird's front heavy bull-headed appearance. They are with bright pinkish red breast and cheeks, grey back, black cap and tail, and bright white rump. They feed on the buds of various trees, and the short, stubby beak is specially adapted for feeding on buds. The bullfinch is not native to North America. It is Eurasian native and a visitor to North America and can be seen in woodlands occasionally. The fun fact about bullfinches, they were once popular cage birds, and they can be taught to imitate a special bird flute or whistle. The beautiful European starling. Starlings are among the continent's most numerous songbirds. They are stocky blackbirds with short tails, triangular wings, and long pointed bills. Though they are sometimes resented for their abundance and aggressiveness, they are still dazzling birds when you get a good look. Covered in white spots during winter, they turn dark and glossy in summer. For much of the year, they wheel through the sky and mob lawns in big noisy flocks. The cedar-waxwing is a member of the waxwing family of passerine bird. It is a medium-sized, silky, shiny collection of brown, grey, and lemon yellow, black mass, and brilliant red wax droplets on the wing feathers. This bird is named for its wax-like wingtips. The red-winged blackbirds, one of the most abundant birds across North America. Glossy black males have scarlet and yellow shoulder patches. They can puff up or hide depending on how confident they feel. Their early and tumbling song are happy indications of the return of spring. You can find these birds in the breeding season by visiting Carrel marshes and other wetlands, or simply by watching telephone wires on a drive through the country. The black-billed magpie, also known as the American magpie, is a bird that inhabits the western half of North America. It is black and white, with black areas on the wings and tail showing hints of blue or blue-green. Their tails makes up half or more of the total body length. The gorgeous cardinals. The northern cardinal is perhaps responsible for getting more people to open up a field guide than any other bird. They are a perfect combination of familiarity and style, a shade of red you can take your eyes off. Cardinals don't migrate, and they don't molt into a dull plumage, so they are still breathtaking in winter's snowy backyards. In summer, their sweet whistles are one of the first sounds of the morning. Most of what northern cardinals eat is weed and sunflower seeds, grains, and fruits. They have large, strong beaks are specialized to crack open seeds. They are found in the eastern United States and the southern and parts of the southwestern United States. The northern cardinal is the state bird of Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. The marvelous eastern bluebird. Male eastern bluebirds are a brilliant royal blue on the back and head, and warm red-brown on the breast. Blue in birds always depends on the light, and male often look plainly grey-brown from a distance. You can find them in open country with patchy vegetation and large trees. Meadows or fields are good places. Females are greyish above with bluish wings and tails and an orange-brown breast. Blue tinge in the wings and tails give the grey females an elegant look. The eastern bluebird is the state bird of New York and Missouri. This common, large songbird is familiar to many people. With its perky crest, blue, white and black plumage, blue jays are most often detected by their noisy calls. They usually fly across open areas one at a time, often silently. Also watch for them at feeders. The American Goldfinch is a small North American bird in the finch family. This handsome little finch is the state bird of New Jersey, Iowa, and Washington. Goldfinches are among the strict vegetarians in the bird world, selecting an entirely vegetable diet where it takes primarily sunflower. The American goldfinch lives at the edges of forests and plains across North America in areas filled with brush and thistle plants. It can also be found in backyards and parks. The purple finch is the state bird of New Hampshire. For many of us, they are irregular winter visitors to our feeders. These chunky, big-beaked finches do breed in northern North America and the West Coast. The mountain thrush is an uncommon thrush of humid evergreen and pine evergreen forest in highlands. Feeds mainly in fruiting trees and bushes. Striking male is a black with a yellow bill and eye ring. Female is brown overall with black bill and yellow legs. And they are great singers. The wood thrush. This reclusive bird's cinnamon brown upper parts are good camouflage as it scrabbles for leaf litter deep in the forest. Though it pops upright frequently to peer about, revealing a boldly spotted white breast, you hear the wood thrush before you see it. The wood thrush is the state bird of Washington, D.C. The wood thrush can sing internal duets with itself, and its loud, flute-clear song rings through the forests of the eastern U.S. in summer. The hermit thrush is a state bird of Vermont. It has a rich brown upper body and smudged spots on the breast, typically found on forest floor, where it haps while foraging in the leaf litter. House sparrows are some of our most common birds. Their constant presence outside our door makes them easy to overlook. The best way to find a house sparrow is to visit an urban area and watch them hopping on the ground. You can easily attract them with food and they may feed out of your hand. In the countryside, look out for bright, clean versions of the city house sparrow around barns, stables, and storehouses. Chipping sparrows are common across North America, wherever trees are interspersed with grassy openings. Their loud, trilling songs are one of the most common sounds of spring woodlands and shrubs. Particularly in fall and winter, watch for small flocks of chipping sparrows feeding on open ground near trees. In spring and summer, listen for the male's long loud trill, then look for the male in the upper branches of a nearby tree. Fox sparrows are dark, named for the rich red hues that many fox sparrows have. This species can range from foxy red to gray to dark brown. Since they breed primarily in remote areas, many people see them in winter when the birds move into backyard thickets. North America has more than 50 species of warblers, but few combine brilliant color and easy viewing quite like the yellow warbler. In summer, the buttery yellow males sing their sweet whistle song from willows, wet thickets, and roadsides across almost all of North America. Black-capped chickadee, a bird almost universally considered cute, thanks to its oversized round head, tiny body, and curiosity about everything, including humans. Chickadee's black cap and bib, white cheeks, grey back, wings and tail, and whitish underside with puffy sides are distinctive. Its habit of investigating people and everything else in its home territory and quickness to discover bird feeders make it one of the first birds most people learn. Chickadee is the state bird of Maine and Massachusetts. Titmouse, also called tit, is a small cheery-voiced, non-migratory woodland bird. These birds are normally small, stocky woodland species with short, stout bills. Blue titmouse with a colorful mix of blue, yellow, white and green makes the blue tit one of our most attractive and most recognizable garden visitors. These birds have small crest on the top of their head and are slightly larger than chickadees, with which they often flock during the non-breeding season. A garden with 4 or 5 blue tits at a feeder and may be feeding 20 or more at times. The grey titmouse has yellow body with a striking glossy black head and white cheeks. It is a woodland bird which has adapted to man-made habitat to become a familiar garden visitor. American robins are common sights on lawns across North America, where you often see them tugging earthworms out of the ground. Robins are popular birds of their warm orange breast, cheery song, and early appearance at the end of winter. Since robins sing frequently, you can find them by listening for their clear musical whistles. In winter, they may disappear from your lawn but could still be around. The American robin is the state bird of Connecticut, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Ring-necked pheasants stride across open fields and weedy roadsides in the US, and it is the state bird of South Dakota. American crows are familiar over much of the United States, a large, intelligent, all-black bird with cawing voice. They usually feed on the ground and eat almost anything. Their flight style is unique, a patient, methodical flapping that is rarely broken up with glides. The wood duck is one of the most stunningly pretty of all waterfowl. Males are iridescent, chestnut and green, with ornate patterns on nearly every feather. The elegant females have a distinctive profile and delicate white patterns around the eye. These birds live in wooded swamps where they nest in holes in trees or in nest boxes put up around lake margins. They are one of the few duck species equipped with strong claws that can grip bark and perch on branches. The wood duck is the only North American duck that regularly produces 2 broods in 1 year. The wood duck is the state bird of Mississippi. The ducklings may jump from heights of over 50 feet without injury. Mallard, the most familiar of all ducks. Mallards occur throughout North America in ponds and parks as well as wilder wetlands. The male's gleaming green head, grey flanks, and black tail curl make it the most easily identified duck. Mallards have long been hunted for the table, and almost all domestic duck comes from this species. Domestic ducks can be common in city ponds and can be confusing to identify. They may lack the white neck ring, show white on the chest, be all dark, or show oddly shaped crest on their head. The Tundra Swan is one of the 2 native swan species in New York State. A graceful Tundra Swan is an incredible sight for bird lovers. The average Tundra Swan has a wingspan stretching just over 5 feet. While the Tundra Swan is the smallest swan species observed in New York State, they are still larger than a Canada goose. The Tundra Swan stays in flocks except when on a breeding territory. Although most swans spread out to breed, a large proportion of the population on the breeding ground still can be found in flocks. Swans have long been associated with the ideals of romance. Added to their elegant outlines and all white plumage is their tendency to form permanent pair bonds by the time they are 2 to 3 years old. Once a pair forms, Tundra swans feed and boost together year-round. The mute swans in North America, descended from swans imported from Europe from the mid-1800s through early 1900s. The Canada goose is one of the most familiar wildlife species in New York State. The big black-necked Canada goose with its signature white chin strap mark is a familiar and widespread bird of fields and parks. Thousands of hawkers migrate north and south each year, filling the sky with long V formations. The elegant great egret is a dazzling sight in many a North American wetland. It may be wading slowly or standing stock still, peering intently at the water as it searches for fish. Though it mainly hunts while wading, it occasionally swims to capture prey over the water and dips for fish. California gull is common in inland areas in the west. These medium-sized gulls breed in colonies on islands, lakes, and rivers. In the winter, they head to the coast where they cruise up and down the shoreline with other gulls. The California gull is the state bird of Utah. Birding or bird watching is a totally accessible activity. You can't go wrong with birding. You will be rewarded by the sights and sound of beautiful and interesting feathered creatures. Identifying birds is at the very heart of bird watching. I hope these tips will help you on your next bird watching adventure. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more videos and for more information, please visit justgiji.com or Just Giji YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.